Shalom, shalom, Yasharan, Shabbat, shalom, shalom. Trust everybody's having the most awesome Shabbat as we enter in. Trust everybody had an awesome Shabbat week, rest, or the work week, the work Shabbat. And we're going to do a Shabbat reading here pretty soon. So praise Yahuwah Yahushua, for this is the Yom that Yah has made. And so first we're going to pull out, and then I'm going to show you around. If you can tell, I'm not in the usual spot. I got moved around again to a new home. As a matter of fact, let me kind of show you around real quick. That's where I got my shofar now. The Hallelujah Scriptures, can't see it, but I got to put my lock up, have that out, and try to find a way to uh, get situated. So yeah, it's 6:29 over here, and this is what it looks like. You can see it's just sun is just going down. I like this new spot. It's got a lot of workout equipment, a lot of space in the backyard. Praise Yah, he provides, He turns our errors into barakah, so barakut. So, being transferred around through the program, the probation system and all that. We're supposed to be at that other house for 3 months, but the funding got cut off. Apparently something happened with the funding, and so they said that the house is only funded till the 24th, so they put us here temporarily, and then we're gonna have another spot. We should have another spot after the 24th, so we're waiting for that. But it's nice because again, this is opportunity. Yahuwah's way of Yahuwah at work, basically, like you see in the Book of Acts. The Talmudim were moving around from city to city, spreading the word, sharing the word. Only now we do that differently, just by kind of living it, staying low key, just meditating on it, and it does it on its own. You just got to be there in that area, and it just loosens the Shamayim on earth, the Shamayim realm. With your meditation is a power, a meditation is a 5G signal you put out. The more concentrated it is, the more focused, the more strength of it, the more potent it is in that meditation, that meditated state. The more it can have some effect in the world around you, just by meditating on the word. Simple as that. Just people pick up what you're putting down in the ruach. It's praise, yeah. But I'm loving this because look at all this workout equipment. Barak Yahuwah. I'm all about it. Y'all know that. You know. Y'all seen lately I SACUT, man, that's the time of feasting, so I came out here to put this on. Time of SACUT, time of the feast. And yeah, I was feasting, man. It just seemed like food was like everywhere I looked during SACUT this past week. It was just constantly like my pantry, my section stayed filled. Um, my fridge stayed filled. My section, I just don't know how it just had so much food. Just kept cooking because, oh yeah, I mentioned Baraka. My one of my roommates out of nowhere was just like, "Hey, you want this chicken?" Like, "Oh yeah, I'll take a piece." He's like, "No, I mean the entire bag." So he like donated me the entire bag of chicken, frozen chicken. So I cooked that, and that was like last Shabbat or something for like Sakut, and and then I had my own bag of chicken the week before that. So he always been showing me like he's taking care of me. That bag came from a donation spot too, so it's all food donated. Um, we got that at a resource spot that gives out groceries, and they, you know, donated free bags of chicken that prior weekend, and then I took him there to get a bag of chicken too, and then he ended up not wanting it and gave it to me. Gave it to Yahuwah. I felt like it was an offering. I received it as an offering to Yahuwah. I'm like, this is gonna go as an offering to Yahuwah, and of course I shared it with everybody, but I think only one or two people got a piece like that wanted any. Like everybody was like cool. Like we all had food. We were all eating. We are all feasting. It felt like Malakim of the Shamaim in the sky sitting at the table at the round table with me. We're all humbled and bowed down. So praise yeah. But nonetheless, look how awesome that timing was. I'm just now realizing it. Well, I realized it earlier before, but I'm realizing it again that that house was like sort of like a SACUT house, like a place for Yahuwah to share his esteem with me. Like it was really I was really only there. It seemed like to in one dynamic to just celebrate SACUT because he brought me there at the beginning of the Chadash of the month, and I was watching the dude Ali Aliyahu Ruacha Aliyahu on YouTube, and he has more of a traditional Jewish background, but he's not serene and Kadash words, and he was talking about how what they would do. The custom was just like any event, family would start coming over from all over the country, overseas to Israel, as early as like a month in advance for the festivals for the Moadim for like Sukkot. And in that dynamic, it was like that too. Like Yahuwah brought me. I feel like Yahuwah in that dynamic brought me to that nice house just in time for Sukkot. Everything cool? The neighbors here, the roommates are cool. I won't put them on blast right now. What's that? That's right. Praise yeah. Yeah, they're cool. They're cool. They're awesome people. It's just so dark here, so I feel like it's reflective of the upper room. A lady who has been speaking to me, even here, it's lit up in somewhat, mostly in real time, real the way I'm seeing it, but the way it looks projected back on the camera looks like it's dark, and uh, and I'm getting upper room vibes because lady that's who's been telling me, he's like, I'm taking you to the upper room. We're going to the upper room. I'm like, upper room. So I was like, meditating on that, that upper room. It was like the Tamadim were waiting, for, they had just celebrated Pasach, and then he said, wait there. Well, they ran into him 40, later, 10 days before Shavuot, Pentecost. And he said to wait for him in the upper room to the rock comes upon him. So they were in the upper room, 10 Yamim. So the upper room symbolizes like, you know, just like after the feast, it's got a blueprint to that. Go in the hiding place, going to meditation. They were up in the upper room. I would imagine the upper room was something like this. The ambience was like, imagine we're in a little 2-story attic, and the attic's gonna be a little, little dark and lit up with some lamps, and everybody's just there like in their own little corner and like palaling in meditation, and that's how it feels like, you know. It's nice and like homey and quiet, and ambience. It's just like that nice dark, like you're in a tranquil, about to get a massage or some type of a vibe. Nonetheless, trying to find somewhere I can do the reading where y'all can see me clear enough, or y'all maybe don't need to see me anyways. And yeah, but how do y'all like the backyard? It's nice, right? You actually had that workout equipment. I didn't get that. Like Yahuwah, he thinks about everything. I was like, oh Yahuwah, I done ate so much this past Saku. I didn't gain so much weight. I didn't realize how much weight I gained. Saku, there's a lot of resting, a lot of Sabbath. There was Yom HaKapparim, and I was just in the SACUT lane, sleeping around all day for like a week for a lot of it. Because I was first going to the park and carrying branches all the time, and then I got in trouble. And I think Yahuwah was like, I'm not gonna take a risk here. Malakim, Malak from the probation office to provide, rosemary and basil, and then he inspired me. I put that on the four corners of your bed and sleep under the bed. That's your saka, and I was just chilling there ever since. Because on the 60th of SACUT, I don't think I mentioned this. I've been meaning to mention it, and you've always been telling me you're either gonna go all the way or not. And because one of the part of the stipulations of earning certain realms is you have to be bold, talk about it if you want it. You can't be ashamed. If you're ashamed, it's like kind of like the dynamic if Yahusha is these different realms. He's the truth of that realm. He's like that version of that realm in truth manifested. So it's like if you're ashamed of me, I'm gonna be ashamed of you. So one of those realms, for example, was like the Garden of Adan, the Garden of Eden realm, and it's like there's gonna be different realms. See that picture I just recently posted. I was gonna read that, and I should have, but I'll probably do that another time just to recap on it because that's kind of what he had been telling me to do. But then I'm like, just like bypassing it. But then now I'm getting convicted again. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I gotta talk about it because I trust it, and I can't be acting like that. Like you want it or not, there's something wrong with you, and you're tripping on. But there's different realms. Like that picture show, like different shimmering in different parts of that picture. Because one shimmering is like a universe, and the highest shamayim, and the mid shamayim, and the low shamayim, and then like a shamayim or a realm of the creation, the bird realm, the plant realm, the fire realm, the animal realm, right? The beast of the field realm, then the Adam and Eve realm, and then there's different realms of like what themes those realms focus on, and the Garden of Adan, Adam and Eve realm. You have to remember, like we forget this was perfect. That Yahuwah created Adam and Eve perfectly, and they were naked, and they knew it not, and were not ashamed. And there's a lot to that. And so, clothed in light, different type of skin, just innocent as an animal, didn't see it, just weren't overthinking that. Just so a lot of things, and it's like the return of the garden is having that meditation about it. And so that's just one of my little side things, like where Book of Eliyahu was talking about those who have, or those who are obedient to Torah should be given hidden treasures, hidden chakma, hidden understandings for other things, other realms, higher things. And one of those was like initiations, like to govern or to be a part of those realms, like Garden of Adan. Like if like so, there's a hierarchy. Like some of us are gonna go to the highest Shamaim realm and be like Malakim and be before the throne of Yahuwah and all that. Some will be like in the like a middle cosmic realm area, going between different universes to a certain point. Some of us gonna be more like Garden of Eden paradise, being innocent like an animal, just having all the understanding of everything, but as simple as a child. By the way, I think I brought this up before. Tahalim Psalms 19, where it says, the the Torah of Yahuwah is perfect, bringing back the being, restoring the nafash. Another part in that says the uh, the Torah Yahuwah is the Torah is what is it? True, or something like that. Making Let me read it. How about that? But it says it's what people when you hear people say translate this way they say making wise the simple. But I looked at it in the Hebrew the abadi and it's got the plural at the ta at the end of the wise like Shabbat and then Shabbatut. You have that little t at the end. Um, it makes it like plural Sabbaths, right? Not just Sabbath. And so it does that with um, the word Hakma. It says like Hakmat, Hakmat, or something. And that is saying it's plural. So it's not saying making wise the simple, but it's wisdom in a plural form. So it's really more saying you could say making wisdom simple, or plural form as it pertains to people is making those wise, the wise ones, making wise ones simple. And that made sense too. Like they both kind of left hand, right hand, they kind of both go together, hand in hand. And it's like, what? It's like, so it's not making wise the simple, it's making wisdom simple. Or making those wise simple. Like they're so wise, but yet very simple minded, very down to earth. They in their fullness of wisdom, they understand how to how to dispense it, right? How to steward it, how to how to just give only what's needed, and they realize it's less is best. Like they can be so wise, but they only need to say a few words, or don't need to say nothing at all. We're not there yet because you're like you talk a lot, because we're trying to take all this wisdom, get it in, and then become simple. But that's Adam and Eve. All that to say, when I think about that, I think of Adam and Hua. I think that they were those that were wise, and yet they were simple. They were very. You look at animals, and you get that sense of animals sometimes having this sixth sense, being like if they're messengers in disguise, like Malachim and Shamaim in the form of an animal, and you can feel that they just have this extra sixth sense, and they're intelligent and whatnot, but they act so simple, and that's kind of like that too. So I think that's how Adam and Eve, Adam, who originally were, was having all this understanding, but only needed to really not even think about it, just be whatever it needed to be in that moment. You know what I'm saying? They understood is almost irrelevant for them because Yahuwah has everything under control. So they were able to take all that and just be simple, like knowing all that wisdom only to come to the conclusion that Yahuwah has everything under control, and it's almost like unnecessary. Like you can all we're doing is studying how he has all this material to play with, how he can choose all these different things, and really, a man uh, makes his plans, but Yahuwah directs his paths, right? So it's all that, Yahuwah is ultimately in control. We just learn how to be in line with him, trust in him, and he'll take care of the rest. He'll do the rest. So nonetheless, trying to see if I can get a better lighting out of here. That's all right. Um, Upper room. I can still read. I don't want it to be so. Maybe it needs to be dark for y'all in a way, because I know some of y'all watch this probably in a dark room, and then it's all bright with like I have the light on. It's too bright, and maybe you need it to kind of be a little bit ambient for you too. Um, so that's you will consider it. But nonetheless, Shabbat Shalom. And what I was trying to get at again, Adam and Hua, is that he gave me some initiations, inspired some things for me to do, like just boom, it just hit me. And I knew that feeling, and he brought Malachim messengers to confirm the word on the way. Um, so I during SACUT, the 7 Yomim, on the sixth Yom, on the fifth Yom was the Yom I said I'm gonna be off. I'm gonna be off Facebook, and spend some time, spend the rest of SACUT with Yahuwah. On the sixth Yom, it's like he woke me up like we were going on a field trip. He just like, come on, yay! Like he was excited. Like he has this awesome, childlike nature about him. He gets excited too, and he's just like, come on, let's go. And like, where are we going? And then he's like, Black Speech. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, like, come on, man. I inspired you. You posted that Adam and Eve post about like, on the sixth Yom, Adam and Eve were created, and he posted on for the sixth Yom of SACUT, and it's part of SACUT too, because they were the original Saka, the original, dwelling of Yah in the midst of the garden. Like SACUT, you bring all the branches and fruit bearing leaves, or fruit bearing branches of fruit bearing trees. You bring it all there at the time of SACUT, and and that's also a reflection of restoring the Garden of Eden. And they were naked and not ashamed. And it's like downloads. Like he wasn't even have to say too much. It's like I was just understanding. He's like he wanted to. He was trusting me. He wanted to see if I was able for him as an offering to be able to just take him back to that garden experience. Like, yeah, I was like, I want to do that for you. Like, take you back to the garden, what it was like when you created Adam and Hua, and memory and remembrance of the original, sixth day of creation, the sixth Yom, when Adam and Hua were made, and they were like in perfect shalom, perfect harmony, perfect alignment with with you, Abba Yahuwah, Mike Yahusha, Ruach HaKodesh, and they were just pure in their mind and their love, and they were naked, and they didn't know it, they weren't ashamed, they weren't tripping, they weren't thinking about it, and they're just pure. So I'm like, yeah, I want to offer that experience up for you and for you, so you can remember that. I want that to be a memory for you, like to remember that when reenacting. Why just do it on 6 Yom. So that's where Yeah, I went to Black's Beach and I decided to uh, film because I wanted to remember. I felt like it was a intimate thing between me and Yahoo, and I wanted to capture it because there was a moment, and there was obvious things that were already happening. So Black's Beach is interesting because it's a beach that is never seems to be empty. It's always packed. It's I've never seen it not packed. And I used to be a regular goer, I casual goer now, but every time I go, it's packed. It's pretty packed. So this is the first time I go on a random yom, but the sixth yom, not just any yom, the sixth yom of SACUT, and the entire beach was completely empty. And I took pictures of that. I'm about to post it. I'm about to get back on. I just want to wait to SACUT to fully pass and simmer down, and then I'll kind of reflect back on that. But but yeah, I took that's what already was the first, like, not even the first. That was like the last thing, the last witnesses. Because I was getting witnesses along the way. He was one of the first ones. So remember, and I couldn't even take pictures because I promised you who I was gonna be off the phone, and I was gonna be off Facebook, social media. So, but I just didn't want to. I didn't want to get ruin the moment by taking pictures, and I should have because I'm gonna regret it because then it's like I didn't have proof, but I don't need it. No one like no one really checked that much. It was the other videos with the and I know they did, but I know some in the spiritual warfare and all that haters. Not nobody here, but like enemies messing with the algorithms and the views numbers or something. But the one I did about the alternate universe interjected cranberry, we call it the crab apples. Happened again because since the first Yomo Sakut at that nice house I was at, I was like, where can I find you know some fruit bearing branches, like some little bush, like a branch with fruit bearing fruits on it. And I thought of the crab apples all the way in PV, but I'm nowhere near that. I'm across the other side of the city in a sense. And so of course, the obvious thing to do is look around the neighborhood. I went out and I looked everywhere there was green. There's a bush here, bush there, tree in front, across the street. Little bushes, and I'm just scoping them out real, like, you know, with intent. And I was like, man, there's nothing here with fruit on it. It's all like, just like, look like grass, like tall grass, whatever, whatever. So all of a sudden, six Yoma Sakuk comes along. That rising, that baka that I woke up and he was like, let's go. And he's like, I got a surprise for you. He was like, tell me, I'm gonna give you witnesses. Like, this is what we're meant to do. Like, what I want. This is how you're gonna know it's from me that I want you. That this is what I want. And the crab apples. That's how it speaks to me because that's when he like changes something in the alternate universe reality and does something special. So all of a sudden, I go outside and guess what's inside? It was like it was like Wizard of Oz. It was like Dorothy from being in a black and white home. All of a sudden, she opens the door and it's all colorful. That's how it was. I was like in the regular universe and then opened it, and what's in front of me? Ta-da! That's the Hebrew word for to premiere. Ta-da! And that's what he says. Yahuwah says in Barashit when he says he Yakawao the Ma'im, he bonded the water molecules together is what Yakawao means, and so we get the word wow because when they saw it, they're like wow, but it means to bond the water molecules together and being all because that's the first time they're seeing matter and scientific methods and oxygen and gravity and all these things take form. So it was wow, yaka wow, and then it says when they bonded the water molecules together in position first, that it premiered the arats out of it, promoted because it was like floating water, and then it and molecules and then bonded it together, gathered it, and then gravity, and then exposed the arats and the line went all the way to the deep chambers beneath, that were just hollow vaults, empty vaults. That's what Tahu Ubahu means. Tahu is T is substance. X marks a spot. You're marking X marks a substance. So Tahu is ta, raw substance. brought forth, ha, that's the ha, to bring forth. Raw substance brought forth unhinged, that's the ua, the hook. So that's tahu. Raw substance ta brought forth, ha, u, unhinged. So it's just raw substance brought forth unhinged, floating and everything. Tahu and then Bahu is the same thing, only it's not raw substance. Bahu means home or dwellings or vaults. So it's like Tahu, so you got unhinged raw substance, raw materials, suspended, unhinged, brought forth and suspended, unhinged. And then you got uh, vaults, empty vaults, suspended or just empty, brought forth unhinged. And then so then Yahuwah says Yakawao and he bonds the water molecules and puts them in their place and position first to gravity and it exposes the arats. It exposes like whoa. And then the word for to expose the arats it was tara. It means to premiere, to expose, to showcase. So we get the word tara. So that's why we say that, it's the word incantation of the Hebrew of when the arats, the earth was premiered. Tara. And so that's what happened. All that to say, I walked outside and it was like ta-da, and all of a sudden there was bushes all right there that were all in front of the cross street at the front yard of crab apples, and they were not there all the other days because that's what I had been looking for the entire week. The entire week I walked right in front of my house. Of course, first thing I'm gonna do is look in the front yard and look at all the bushes, the grass, whatever's there, to see if I can see anything with fruit on it, and it was just tall grass. All of a sudden I go and it's bushes and they're all full of crab apples. The red ones, the same bushes so that I showed you in the video, same crab apples, that certain special alternate universe reality kind of like what? And he's like, take it, break off what you need so we can do SACUT. So I broke them off. I broke off the only four branches are sticking out through the fence because there's a fence there because it was going wild on the just on the other side of the fence across the street from like this steel warehouse or something, but it's against the fence, and that's where I was looking. They weren't there. All of a sudden, they're all full red, and they were not even there. It was tall grass, and now it's there. And so there's only these four branches I'm pushing through that I was able to rip off. So I had my four for each corner of the sucker I was gonna make, and uh, and these things had thorns, so it's kind of like out. I gotta be careful. I got a few pokes out of it, and Yahuwah was speaking to me like, yeah, that's how you've been to me. Like every time you kind of rebel and mess up, it's like you're a little thorny. Like you're not allowing me to like pluck you, like to come. You're not allowing me to hold you in my hands. You're like poking back. You're pushing like goats buck back. He's gonna separate the goats and the sheep. Goats, and rams and stuff, they'll buck back. Sheep will allow you to do whatever to them. But nonetheless, like that's how the thorns are. Thorns are like a goat bucking back or a ram. So it's like, oh, like, but nonetheless, the fruit is worth it. He's still bearing a lot of fruit still. So he's like, nah, I don't care. Like it comes with the territory, but it's worth it. It's worth picking them. Like that's how when I said that, that's when he gave me that revelation. I was like, oh shoot, oh, like I got poked a few times, and I was like, hey man, it's worth it. These fruits are, And then he's like, that's how you are to me. You're worth it. I was like, oh, that's sweet. Like sorry, I have to, I make it word like I'm poking you. I don't mean to do that. He's like, you're worth it. It's cool. Like your fruit product increase capacity production way outweighs the thorns. I'll take it. It's worth it. He's like, it's exactly like that. Like, wouldn't you pick them even though they're thorns? Like, he's like, yeah. He's like, exactly. So yeah. So I grabbed four of those, and on the way to Black's Beach, there's this vibe about the people on the trolley, like Malakim, and then one was like, "Hey man, what's that for?" Like he was asking me, so like he got me talking and saying it, and then that's what I told him. I said basically that right now we're in the time of the biblical feast of SACUT, and I promised Yahuwah inspired me this Bakar, this rising, to go to Black Speech because there's more beyond the word. Like there's gonna be inheritances of different realms. It says that I prepare a place for you, but that's talking about realms, like different alternate universe realities that are still in line with the word. Like the foundation for all these realms are the Torah, still the law. So it's like they're just a different creative uh, creative freedom that you have, but that still lines up with the word. Yeah, but there's room for creative expression in accordance with the word. Still gotta do it by the like. There's rules in art, but you can still do art however you want, just as long as you go by the rules to mix the colors or however you like to make the colors or whatever. So it's like that, and it's a great parable. And so I was explaining. I said, and one of those is the Garden of Eden realm, and in order for I told them that I want to be a part of that because I just want to be make the wisdom simple. I just want to be simple minded. I like animals. I have this connection with animals, and I don't like even eating animals like meat sometimes, and that's like one of the initiations is like you have to like to get into the Garden of Adan, the restoration, like to make your election sure on that in that realm is like Adam and Eve weren't eating animals, so you got to be like on a vegan diet. You can eat eggs because he manifested as I was that same yom. I stopped by one of the places that gives out like snacks and stuff, and they usually don't have like cooked food. And all of a sudden this day they had like a vegan dish, but with two hard boiled eggs on the side. So that was like Yehuda telling me like you can have eggs. Like eggs are technically just empty yolk, like not fertilized eggs, right? Like just empty chicken eggs that are not you know for fertilized with the male. You can eat those, and you're not doing nothing bad. You're not killing nobody, you're not hurting nothing. And so eggs and milk, yeah, that's fine. And it's like your neighbor is sharing their milk with you. The cow or whatever. It's like women breastfeed babies. Same thing. They're sharing their milk. It's not like, oh, that's torturing an animal. You're like, it's robbing its substance. Like, no, I think the animal wouldn't mind sharing. If he had to nourish you. But they're giving you some eggs. Hey, I produced these. If you want to try them, like that's what loving neighbors would do. And so, nonetheless, like part of stipulations is giving up meat, and that's the only one of the only things I really struggle with is like, I gotta have my chicken or I gotta have my. I'm like getting better, like not eating steak. I don't eat steak no more really, but I would make a little ground beef every now and then, those tacos or mix with my beans or have some chicken. But lately I've been eating a lot of tuna now, about the tuna packets. So I'm kind of weaning off of all that and just sticking to tuna fish until I can get to just more of a solid like vegan diet. And ironically, my house manager was telling me, he's like, before, I mean, he don't obviously know I'm talking about all this, but he's like a malak. He's like, oh yeah, you're gonna like that house you're going to. I think he was talking about this house. I think he was talking to me about it. He said, yeah, they got a lot of them work in like the fish industry. They're all connected like with fish, like there's a fish market and there's a fish warehouse somewhere. I'm like, what? Like that's from Yahoo right there, because that's lately what he's been telling me. Like at least work your way down a fish. And because yeah, there's still a friend, but it's just we grew up on it, so like we all struggle differently. It's if you want to be a part of that realm. And but yeah, I do. And then like there's other stipulations. The other part was like other than not eating meat, have to make time getting comfortable in your own skin, and that's part of the initiation. And I think that's why boom, even the crack. I don't know if that was caught on the video. I'll check it later, but yeah, there's like the bumper going like crack, like back in the day would like you hear a honk in the background, like, but it's kind of a quiet little neighborhood. But nonetheless, yeah, like so I think Yahuwah saw this foresaw this ahead of time and knew what things I would line up with better and my desires, and gives the desires of our love according to His desire. His plan is what's in His um, like capacity to do. Not that He doesn't have capacity to do other things, but within His guidelines of His Torah, right? And I'm like, well, you made Adam and Eve perfect, and it ain't even just for that. It's actually the opposite because I struggled for a long time with like um, insecurities. Like I wasn't comfortable with my own skin. And because real young, it was just always a funny thing about it. But I don't know. The enemy, I think, was just doing things to make me insecure at a young age. But it took me a while, and then even now, like, so what helps though is getting in the birthday suit, and then it's like laying it all out there and like and then being okay, like the mystery's over. The mystery, it's all gone and it overcomes it. And that's the triumph right there. Is just taking it all off and I'm like mystery's over. I've arrived. Like and, you just have to be in the right state of mind. It's about the intention, right? And I've done this a lot, but I never filmed it. But I felt led to because it was empty and I just felt like it was appropriate. It was like I just felt it. I want to capture it for myself for Yahuwah. And so yeah, the crab apples were signed, and the guy was getting me talking about it. I said, yeah, I told him like, in order to have these realms, you got to give up meat, and you got to be able to like occasionally like go out naked and express it, like get in that frame of mind and like relive it, like replay the Garden of Atan, like as a exercise. What like you're there, like what you would be like how like if you can show, because like we exercise the fruits of the ruach, we exercise practicing righteousness because we're trying to exercise uh, being in the Shamaim on earth, being in eternity. That's why whatever you're like now, like imagine eternity's happening now, and that's what you're like now, and how you're struggling with certain things, or you have lack of patience, or you have some issues with certain people's thought process or skin or whatever it is. You're jealous, you're impatient, you just have like no thought, like little times where you get jealous or bitter or whatever it is. You can't forgive. If someone offends you, you take offense real easy. Like you're in eternity right now. You got to train. You're only gonna play like you practice, so you got to train for that now. And if you can not sweat the small stuff now, not sweat anything now, then you're not gonna do a thing because you can't expect perfect. Isn't like everything's gonna go your way. It means that you're gonna know how to rightly respond to things and keep composed and all that. Like you're training to mature yourself in the image of Yah. So he's gonna refine us like gold on fire to that. Practice makes perfect too. He's gonna put us in cycles and certain things over and over in different ways or new things to work certain things out of us. And that's the goal. And one of those is the Garden of Eden round two. Like like overcoming that and just like being cool with that because that's part of the restoration of all things. That was the original plan, right? That was the original creation. Was he made Adam and Eve, and there was a garden, and they were naked, and they didn't know, and they were not ashamed, and it was done. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna rest on the Sabbath and to be continued. No, that was a finished product, you know. And so that's a part of it. And then we see those references in Isaiah 32, like the land should become like a garden land and whatnot, and it's like a reference to paradise, the Garden of Adan, and Yashahu 4, replenish worlds without end, you know, have certain things like in the likeness of like the animal reigns, like the lions and whatnot, those type of animals, but peace, shalom, and shalama. And so, yeah, he revealed to me those things. So part of that initiation was that, and working on not eating meat because when I meditate on that, all the animals start flying around me. They come near every time. I'm like, yeah, I gotta give up the fish and that. That's the only thing. And all of a sudden the birds start singing and butterflies would like practically land on me, like they're flying all around me. I'm like, whoa, and like, yeah, okay, that's what's missing. But yeah, especially the naked thing, like getting nude and just being comfortable. The squirrels would come up and eat out my hand, kind of stuff. So at Black's Beach, so it's cool. So that's what I did. I went to Black's Beach and I filmed it and yeah, I think I loaded it up on YouTube too. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just share it because I had to be real about this. I had to show you who that I'm comfortable with. Like it's just flesh. It's not even anything. It's the suit he made for us to wear while we're here, and he's gonna give us something else. And so I shouldn't let it be. We shouldn't be held down by it, insecure about it. Shouldn't be tripping on it like that. And so that's part of the initiation. Like part of the. I felt like the triumph to crossover. And what was the other thing? Let's see. The other thing was, oh, felt like I just got attacked. And me didn't want me to say something. And you hear that boom out there. Something came like my mind kind of blanked me out. Because this might be like one of those things I gotta keep hidden. But yeah, nonetheless, yeah. I mean, that'd be cool. I think it would allow, like, you know, if anyone's down, like, I'm probably gonna open up the invitation to actually having not serene nudist, so we can all be comfortable in our own skin like that. Praise yeah. Initiation. What's up, man? Yeah, even here when I came here, man, like I thought that was pretty cool too. Like, um, I mean, to them it's probably natural, but I grew up in a very tight knit home where everything was like cover up shame. Everybody's just overly like we're just covered up, and like here, dudes were just like walking around in their boxers and everything, Like everybody was like in their boxers, like three or four dudes, and I was like, oh shoot. And I mean, that's to them, that's probably just normal culture and everything. And but I grew up like I found that refreshing. Like yeah, like to me that was a sign. Like yeah, you gotta get on that level. Like get comfortable like that. And so I was like, all right. Even talking about it with my roommate, like having no shame in my game. Otherwise, I'm being ashamed of Yahusha, sort of like that test too. Like being ashamed. Like yeah, like, dude, you're talking about normal things, and like exactly. But see, where I'm coming from is like I've come from such a far paradigm culturally that's like where it's a little taboo, it's a little like not even shunned, but like just shamed. Thank you, bro. Praise God. So I like that he came in at the right time because it's like shown that I wouldn't be ashamed to say it. It's good to talk about it because um, that's the way He made us, and if I was ashamed right now to talk about it, it would expose my shame. Like it would show like I'm lying to myself. I'm kidding myself. I don't really have confidence about it, and I'm being ashamed of Yahusha. That's proof right there that I'm trusting in Him. That this is what He wants me to be, and how He's trying to get me to deal with my insecurities, but also give me a run with it too. So I think that's pretty cool. The math checks out, and I think it's cool. So get comfortable in the birthday suit and even doing what they do, work out, and just be like, yeah, instead of being weird, overly thinking. And again, extend that invitation. And that is funny because like I said, I went to Black's Beach and I didn't realize how much weight I gained. I thought I was still looking decent, until I went and I like played it back and like, oh shoot, I don't picked up some pounds there. I need to get in shape, yeah. Like 7 days feasting, Feast of Tabernacles, man. That'll just in time for the winter, get you in that bear mode, the hibernation mode, putting on some weight, for the winter. But I was like, nah, I gotta lean back up and cut down and get strong again. And so, and look, Brock Yahuwah brought us to this home that's got all this workout equipment in the back. It's already like calling my name. I'm like ready after Shabbat to go hard, you know. And what's cool is I got to Philip got to come with me. That's my neighbor. I don't know if you mind saying hi, but he's right there. And he was actually staying with me at the other house, and he's the only one that got to come with me, and I really enjoyed him a lot too for that. So I'm really thankful because he's a believer, like a brother believer. Like he's into the word. Oh, he's the one I was telling you. I think I mentioned you, Philip. Sorry, I was talking about like, man, there's a brother that quit smoking and he's been smoking since he was young, and just getting around the presence of the word. You just meditate on it. Just it feels like it maybe has a little bit of an influence, like in the air, like an impact. But yeah, that's him. He's the one that quit smoking. How long now? Like a month? 2 months? 2 months. No more cigarettes. So praise yeah. And so praise yeah for that. And then we just Yahuwah, he's been keeping us connected in the Ruach. Like we never really like hung out, like talked and all that, but like a lot. But we just already know. You know what I mean? We have a strong connection in the Ruach. We can just be around each other's presence and be like, yeah, we're cool, we're connected, one mind. Same type of thing. You gonna watch a movie? No, no, no. I go outside. I was just thinking about that too because I was like, it's kind of dim in here. I was gonna try maybe in the backyard. Oh, for real? That's fine. I mean, that sucks, but Yeah. Oh, you sure? All right, I'll try to keep it low then. Yeah, let me know if it. You let me know. Yeah, I'll play better because I really don't want to interrupt what you're doing. But that's cool that you can do it on the TV though. Oh, that's awesome. Um, let me see if I can find a spot out there though, because I don't want you to have to do that unless you really have to. Because that's cool that it's there, but as a backup. But let me see if I can find. Because I want you to enjoy it. I want you to kick back and have it up all loud. I haven't. You know what I mean? Be free. Be free. But yeah, I'll come back if I just really can't. Yeah, you enjoy yourself, man. I'll be back. Oh, you know what? I gotta blow this shofar. Yeah, that's what I do. I'll make this one. Yep. I'll make this one video of its own again. That happens all the time. Unintentionally, but intentionally from you. Alright, man. That's it. And then I'll come back and do the reading. It's funny how that happens. I keep meaning this to be the video, the reading, and I end up talking. So, talk. Alright. And I forget, blow the shofar or something, then it just comes at the right time, though. That that adds up. Funny, Phil was just there laughing because he already knows. Because I'm pretty sure he's heard me. He's heard me do this over and over where I'm like, Shabbat Shalom, da da da, and like, oh, I didn't mean to talk about this. And I'm like, well, guess I'm just gonna make this one video, come back and do another one. So I'm gonna make this video about what I talked about, called the Garden of Eden, something like that. Witness, and I'll share pictures or video, whatever, another time, and encourage y'all if y'all want to do that, but encourage y'all to look at it in the right light of the Word of Yah. I want y'all to bring yourself to that level, get out of the worldly paradigm way of thinking, and you're just seeing what Yahuwah created. You're not seeing nudity. You're seeing a bird. You're seeing a horse. You're seeing a gorilla, a donkey. You're seeing an entity, and the Ruach in them is for Yahuwah, operating in Yahuwah Yahusha. That's it. The rest don't matter, and that's being simple, making Chakma, making wisdom simple, making those wise simple, and making wisdom simple. Just keeping it simple, Garden of Adon. So praise Yah. So I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna blow the shofar a little bit. I'm not gonna do it here because it's my first night. I just came in today and I don't want to rock that boat just yet. I let them hear from down the street and then see how they feel about it, and just blow it around town, around this area. That's kind of the ministry, and then I'll come back and then we'll do the Shabbat reading. So that Shabbat Shalom. See you soon. Praise God.